Can you shake Jay's hand now? Really strong. Go on, seriously. Let's. I just want to. No, shake hand. No, shake. I want to
feel the grip.
Shake. But no, go on. Give him a squeeze, please.
Okay, that's a fucking grip. I'll tell you that much.
Oh my god, I want to do it, but I'm scared. My hand is starting to sweat already.
Hello, my name's Jay. I'm here with James and Matt, and welcome to the Broadband Podcast. Today we have a very special guest called Rebecca Roberts. She's the current 2021, sorry. Welsh.
This is why you never do an intro.
2021 Welsh and world
strongest woman.
Yeah, world's strongest woman.
Thanks, guys. That's amazing. Thank you very much for coming, Rebecca. That's amazing. We've got the strongest woman in the world in our house.
Yeah.
Okay, we need some security. Maybe you shouldn't leave. He's looking for some security.
I did need security at one point, actually, when I was in university.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, wow.
I checked the stats. Is this correct, Rebecca? You're 6'4",
Yes.
150 kilograms.
I'm about 145 at the minute, but yeah.
Wow.
That is tall.
Wow.
6 foot. I think you're the only woman I know that's 6'4".
Yeah, like when I first started the sport, I felt like I was just like way taller than any other female I'd ever known. But in the sport, you get a lot of females that are like over 6 foot. Height really helps in the sport. Obviously, in the men's, like all the men are like well over 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
And being taller just massively just helps.
And what's your current record for lift? What is the current thing that you can do that's like just makes you the strongest woman in the world?
Actually, you won a lot of the competitions in 2021. She did really well in all of I'm speaking for you in all the different. What would you call them?
Like competitions,
But
or
part of the competition, all the different weights, all the different events within the competition.
So in the last kind of 2 years, I've been the top 3 in every single event in every competition. That's the whole important thing in the sport that I do, is just to be consistent. So you can't have a weakness. So that's one thing that I train, is just to make sure that I've got no weak events and I'm consistent all around.
Yeah.
So the last couple of years have been like really good for me. Like I'm actually the current Wales strongest woman, UK strongest woman, Europe's strongest woman, and world's strongest woman all in once.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
That's a hell of an achievement.
And the only way, right, I'd like to get into it later, but it's just pure dedication, training every day for hours and hours, right?
Not every day, but yeah, I do a lot of training. I train like around 5 to 6 times a week.
Right.
Sessions at the minute around 3 to 4 hours long.
Right.
Session.
But then, yeah.
Wow.
But I also do like morning cardio as well. I go for a 45 minute to an hour walk every morning as well. So
I'm assuming nutrition is a big part of that. How do you fit in the time to eat with 4-hour training?
Meal prep.
Yeah.
All
right. So we'll come
meal prepping.
We'll come into the individual sort of bits events that you do within the competition. But where did it start? Like where did you grow up?
So I was born in Bangor in North Wales.
Wales? Wales
take over.
Welsh born and bred.
Yeah, girl.
So I always compete under the Welsh flag, like every time I compete. But yeah, I was born in Wales in 1994. I'm 27 now. And yeah, I had like quite a normal childhood up until I was around 12. That's when my mum passed away. And then when I was 13, my dad got diagnosed with dementia. So we were put into care when I was 13. So I grew up basically in a care home. Me and all my siblings were split up. There's 5 of us. So we were all in like different homes because I couldn't find a home suitable for all 5 of us at once. So it was quite hard growing up, especially when I had a younger brother who was like 11 years old. So I was kind of like mothering him, as well as like doing my own thing, trying to like get myself through school and things like that. I finally got my A-levels done, and I was the first person under kind of care in my county to actually go to university. So it was a massively new thing for them to have to deal with, like how do you support someone going through to university with the social services. So that was like a major milestone, because all I wanted to do was to better myself, because growing up in a care home, you saw loads of people that were on drugs, that were kind of committing crimes, and I was living with them. And I just looked at them and I was like, do you know, I don't want my life to be like that. I don't want to grow up kind of in and out of prison and things like that.
How did your mum pass away, if you don't mind me asking?
She had coronary heart disease and anemia. So it was quite like a sudden kind of thing. Like it was a Sunday morning and we kind of went out to play in the street, and we weren't allowed to usually, but we thought, oh, we'll sneak past like my mum because my dad was in work. And we came back in around 1 o'clock in the afternoon and my mum still hadn't woken up. And she was like, obviously she passed away on the sofa, and it was quite difficult like to deal with because I was only 12 at the time. My little brother was 6. So to go through that and then obviously kind of half losing my dad at the same time, as well as trying to keep on track with things, was quite tough.
In a short space of time as well. And when you're changing through childhood, I mean, my dad passed away when I was 11 as well. So no.
And so you were sort of like mum to your younger brother. So there were no, just to confirm, there were no foster parents. So you went into like a foster home.
Yeah, I was in like a care home, like a supported housing living.
Right.
Up until I was 16, and then I moved into like my own kind of flat. I was paying my own bills, but at the time, my younger brother was in a foster home who were neglecting him.
Oh no.
So like after I finished school every day, I made sure that he had some kind of hobbies. So I'd use some of my money. I was only on £50 a week. That's all that they gave me to live on. But I spent my money on bus tickets to take my little brother to tennis, or to take him to swimming, to take him to golf, to keep him like involved in different activities and just kind of give him something to do rather than sit at home in his foster home where he wasn't really cared for.
And was your foster home okay?
Mine was okay, but it was basically living around people that were committing crimes all the time and things like that. And so I just kind of kept myself to myself most of the time.
So I suppose you took on that motherly role for the rest of your siblings.
Yeah, but it's worked for him. He's got himself into university now as well, so he's doing really well. So like, I'm just kind of proud of the fact that he's managed to get through what he's gone through, because obviously it would have been even harder for him at 6 years old going through all of that.
What university did you go? What university did you go to?
I went to Liverpool John Moores.
Oh, okay.
I studied forensic psychology and criminal justice.
Oh wow! Liverpool's a fun city, no? Yeah, I've got cousins that live in Liverpool.
Well, I originally wanted to go into psychology because of my dad's dementia, and then I volunteered in hospitals, and I was just like, I don't think this is where I feel like I can help the most. But then forensic psychology was something that appealed to me because then I could get behind the minds of criminals and hopefully see if I could help change, like
from the inside. Yeah.
So,
and did you work in that area in forensics?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Was it useful to study?
It was fun to study, but I don't think a lot of people like they go to university and they do things completely different to their degree right, in the end. But it was a good degree to have, and I met some cool people and things like that. When I first joined university, I played rugby. That's when I first started in kind of sports. And I wanted to play for Wales was my kind of main thing. And so on the second year of university, like I captained the rugby team for university, and I played for a Premiership level rugby club. But that all kind of came to fruition when at the end of my second year of university, I went on a night out. And I lost my friends and I was raped at night point.
Wow.
So that was hard to get through.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And that was in Liverpool?
Yeah. It was on a night out in Liverpool. So it was just, that kind of turned my whole mentality and everything upside down. I went through depression, like really bad, PTSD. Couldn't walk through the streets.
Was that
without,
not to sort of go too much into it, but was it just a guy that came up to you and was like, show you what?
Yeah, basically, like I'd called myself a taxi, and while I was waiting for it, he just kind of pushed me into an alleyway near where the taxi was, and if it wasn't for people coming, like walking past, like he wouldn't have been caught. Thankfully, he was caught and he went to prison for it.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
So I had to kind of go through all the court process.
Oh my God.
But in that time, like my PTSD was unreal. Like I had really bad anxiety. I couldn't walk down the streets without having my phone like cling in my hand, like ready to call 999 if anything happened. And I gained about 10 stone, something like that in weight.
What was your weight and what was your size when that happened?
I was like a size kind of 10 to 12. I was around about 90 kilo, 95 kilos, something like that. Obviously, that's still quite heavy for a woman because I am 6'4".
Relatively tall, yeah.
But after that, I ballooned and I think I doubled in weight. I was like 190 kilos, something like that, within like 18 months. I completely quit rugby and just kind of one thing that I managed to do was I managed to complete my degree. And they were really good with me. Like, they helped me in the fact that I could like just do my degree from home rather than having to go into university and things like that. And
it was that one experience that just like caused that. What did you have? Depression, anxiety, everything?
Yeah, PTSD, everything.
Wow.
And while that was going through the court case, I met somebody who ended up being abusive, and in that time he tried to kill me.
Oh my God.
No way.
Honestly, he tried to throw me out of a 3rd-story window.
This is when you're 18?
This is when I was 20.
Right.
And
when you met him through the court system, he was a lawyer or about?
No, I met him just kind of online on Plenty of Fish.
Right.
Around 6 months after it happened.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, he was controlling and abusive, and
you opened up to him, I guess, with everything that had happened. So he knew stuff about you personally, right? Yeah. And then he still did that.
I had like a big bay window where I lived, and he tried to kind of push me out of it. And if it wasn't for the people who lived in the flat below me, I'd have probably gone through that window and
oh
died.
My God.
Like, it was pretty grueling, but he managed to get a sentence as well. Like, fair play to them. All the people in the flat below, they all went to court with me, and kind of we all testified against him, and he got done. And so that was another thing that I had to go through, and that didn't help my mental health and things like that.
I'm thinking of these men now, like you would absolutely destroy them now.
Absolutely.
You'd just be like picking them up and just smashing them together. It's so weird because obviously, and I'm assuming that through all this bad experience and these things happening to you, led you into, the career that you are now. And how did you come out of that?
Like, I met my partner in May of 2016, and he originally just agreed to be my personal trainer. So our first date was technically in the gym. Because I was quite heavy, obviously I was near 190 kilos. I wanted to get my life back on track, and we just decided to go to the gym to lose weight. And he was very into Strongman. He still is. He's still my partner now, and he's very into Strongman. He competed himself on a more local level, and he decided that I was, well, he didn't decide, but he said that I was quite strong for a woman. And he just kind of helped me with like the weight loss and things like that. We went to the gym, did some strength training, and he was like, do you know what, you should enter a competition. And I was like, what? No. But yeah, then he entered me into UK Strongest Woman, which was my first competition. And that was September 2016. So that was 5 months after I met him, and I won it.
Wow.
Became UK Strongest Woman within 5 months of training with him.
Wow.
That's unreal.
The rest is kind of history.
Do you think, like, I know it's a bit of a sort of deep question, but do you think if you didn't go through all that adversity that you would have gone and worked that hard to train to become a strong woman in 2016?
No, not one bit.
So that adversity was what sort of pushed you to like go, right, that's it, I'm going to work hard now.
Yeah, I just wanted something better for myself. And I always have, like, even when I was in care, I always strived to do something better or be better and things like that. And kind of when I get a goal in my head, like, that's it. Like, I'm going to achieve it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain to people, but sometimes you've got to go through bad experiences to get to that point.
Yes.
The obstacle is the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like when I was at my lowest, I was suicidal and I tried to commit suicide like 3 times. And now...
Was this after the rape around that time? Yeah.
And now I'm in a position where I can kind of advocate for things like that. Like, I openly kind of express that, like, when I was at my worst, I didn't feel like there was any way out, but there is. Like, there's better things coming if you just keep believing believe that you can do something better and just keep pushing through your bad days and things like that. So like I just try and help other women get through experiences like this.
How did that first win, that first competition you entered, do for your mental health after that adversity?
Oh, it was amazing because I had people come up to me saying that I was inspiring them. And then that's what I latched onto, is just being able to inspire other people to be who they want to be and do what they want to do. And it was just amazing for my mental health to know that I was back achieving things. Like I felt at that point, right, I'm back on track now. Like I'm back on track with my life and I can keep pushing this and know that I'm just going to kind of get through it.
And when you like, funny enough, somebody died a few weeks ago. I shouldn't laugh, but next door, they killed themselves actually in one of the apartments. Like, is it something that you think, right, this probably won't kill me? Or is it something where you're like, no, I definitely want this to just stop and finish? And because in my head, I'm like, if I don't wake up tonight, then I won't know. Because if you're dead, then everything stops. Is that what's going through your head? All the pain would just stop.
I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like going through this now, at the time, I wanted everything to stop. Like I wanted my whole life to end. Like I didn't see a way out. I didn't see a way that I could be happy, especially after everything that had happened. It felt like it was just one thing after another. But then seeing this and knowing that I could achieve something like that, it kind of opened the door and it kind of showed me a light that I could kind of run towards. And it's just opened up almost like life again for me. Like when I first started, all I would wear was black hoodies and black trackies and things like that, and like I wouldn't have any kind of colour, I wouldn't show any skin. I'd
kind of hide yourself away.
Yeah, and now like I go into the gym in sports bra and leggings. Like I'm probably one of the brightest people in the gym that you kind of see and things like that. And it's just a sport that's given me that back. I feel like it's given me my life back and saved my life.
There's a weird.
That's awesome.
There's an interesting like juxtaposition between like, you know, going through something where you're raped and that's someone's physically forcing something on you, and now you're the strongest woman in the world. Like it's the two almost come together in a weird way, because it's like, you know, you were physically forced to do something, and then now you've trained and become, you know, it's amazing. And you know what's great is that you've got so much light in you. I can tell already. Like you're smiling, you're happy. You know, you're flaunt it. Absolutely. You know,
we interviewed Julius Francis, and like he's a very strong guy. And we said, you know, what was it that made you become so strong and want to be a good fighter? And he was actually, the police beat him up, like consistently beat him up, put him in a really bad place. He said, I'm never letting that happen to me again. They knocked him unconscious, and you know, so although what happened to you is way worse, in my opinion, he got strong so that wouldn't happen, to protect himself again. And that's a story you hear over and again with Mike Tyson, whoever it is to protect yourself. And that's what you've done. So it's amazing.
I think anyone that achieves big things has had something bad happen to them that kind of drives them.
Yeah.
Like every person that I've met that's kind of achieved something has always got like a backstory of something that they've got their drive from.
It's almost impossible to like work hard if there's no adversity, because if everything's easy and everything just comes easy, like why? Yeah. You know, you did like, it's because you need, you know, the guy who sold WhatsApp, I think, was on food stamps at one point, right? And you know, it's because you're pushed into a place where it's like, I have to have this. That's why I'm going to stay up till 3 a.m. every night, rather than if everything's just there on the table, it's just.
And it, you know, it's do or die. Like you were at the point where you were like, right, I don't want to live.
Yeah.
And you know, you turned it around. I mean, that 5 months of that's amazing. I'm just thinking of like the first time you were in the gym with like your partner. You must have been like stronger than him, and he was the first. Oh yeah, love. I'll put you in a competition. See how you do. I think it'd be great. And you're like, oh no, maybe not. Yeah, no, go on. And just like,
So Rebecca, tell us about the next step on your journey after that competition.
We just carried on training basically, and I entered the next kind of competition. So the way that we train, it works really well because he doesn't want to be beaten by a girl, but then he's slightly stronger than me, so I want to be beating him.
Right.
Yeah.
So it works really well.
So you're like this.
Yeah. So we are around like the same kind of strength level, really, because he kind of competes himself, but he also competes in grip sport. So the next competition that I did was actually the European Grip Championship.
I saw you with those grips, and you held them for ages, like a long amount of time.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that the things you squeeze?
Yeah, grip strength is really important, and obviously you're too young, but I think when you get to like 38 or something, you really lose. The grip strength is like one of the first things that goes, isn't it?
I know they look young, but we're in the same age category, those two. They've been doing a podcast for 30 years, so that gives you an idea. Explain what the grip thing is.
Well, it's lots of it's a completely different sport. Like, it's a full sport in itself. So they test basically your hand, finger, thumb, wrist strength.
Wow.
I've actually got the strongest grip in the world for a female.
Can you shake Jay's hand now? Really strong. Go on, seriously. Let's. I just want to. No, shake hand. No, shake.
I want to feel the grip.
Shake. But no, go on. Give him a squeeze, please.
Okay, that's a fucking grip, I'll tell you that much.
Oh my God, I want to do it, but I'm scared. My hand is starting to sweat already.
I know.
Have you seen James like this? James has got this in the corner. He's pumping his bicep.
I mean, compare the hand size. Compare the hand size. I mean,
yeah,
that's so cool.
Fuck me.
Yeah. Jay, you got small hands anyway.
You missed it before you came in, Bax. We were all there doing press ups and everything. Tops off, push. You know when you push hard on the wall? No, I'm joking. But okay, so
can I ask a question on that? Sorry. So you said earlier you met your partner, you trained, and he said, "Oh yeah, you're quite strong." Was you insanely strong at that point without any training?
Well, when I first kind of came into the sport, I was strong for a beginner, really. My deadlift was only around 80 kilos.
Right.
I could probably bench press around 50 to 60 kilos at that time. So I came in with quite a decent kind
moderately
of strength.
Strong.
Yeah. But he coaches as well, so he knew exactly what to do to kind of get my strength back. To what it was in the rugby days when I did play rugby, because obviously that takes a lot of kind of strength. And I'd not really done any gym work in around a year and a half. So my strength really kind of came back quite quickly. And then at UK Strongest Woman, my deadlift was around 200 kilos at that time. Now my deadlift's about 280 kilos.
That's insane.
That's insane. All right, so if we can talk about the weights. I saw you. So I've seen you lift 170 kilogram rock. But you've got the unofficial world record for 180 kilogram rock, round rock.
Is it rock or stone, I think?
Stone.
An Atlas stone.
Stone. Rock.
He's living in the Flintstone area.
Fucking, he thinks you lifting rocks there on the Thames or something.
Caveman, Freddie Flintstone.
Picking up rocks. No, because there's all this
Don't
debate.
need to go to a gym, just go and find a cave somewhere.
There's this thing, isn't there, about the differences between men and women, and I don't think anyone can argue that the average man is stronger than the average woman. But I thought, the strongest woman, before I looked into you and what you've achieved, I thought the strongest woman would be, stronger than the average man. But you're actually stronger than a guy who's very strong. For example, we all work out quite a lot. Me and Matt work out quite a lot.
Here we go.
As you can tell from Jay's grip. As you can tell from his grip, he's a bit.
But you are stronger than us a lot by a long way. No, by a long way. Not just 180 kilograms to lift that up. And I asked my friend Sior, and he does all these competitions, and he's a big strong guy, and he said no way could he lift
170 to him.
I said 170 to him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane and I want to know your thoughts on that, because obviously, he's just basically said that men are stronger than women, but
average man is stronger than the average woman physically. That's a fact. Right? Would you agree with that, Rebecca?
I'd agree with that probably, without any kind of gym training and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's mainly kind of genetics and hard work and actually knowing how to train. You see a lot of people in the gym that are just doing the completely wrong thing and they're not progressing as well as what they would do if they had the right coaching and the right kind of mentality.
Remember what? And I don't know if you agree with this, but I think Martin told us that the strongest woman now is way stronger than the men were 30 years ago.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, we're lifting heavier weights at World's Strongest Woman than they did at World's Strongest Man at that time.
Wow.
So that was quite insane.
That's obviously a lot to do with the time progressing as well, right? And the nutrition and like you said, the right training and that kind of thing. That's incredible.
And without going into too much detail on diet, because I'm sure with everything you could spend hours telling us about nutrition and diets. But is it what we would expect: super high protein, a good amount of carbs, and kind of high fats as well?
So it depends really when I'm training or what competitions are basically. So around 5 months of the year, I'll be kind of cutting. So I've just come out of a cut now, and I'll be bulking to go up to World's Strongest Woman. So I was on around 4,000 calories a day. And mainly that was like protein and carbs and quite low fat.
Okay.
But now I'll be like having like a lot more carbs, and my protein is around 300 grams a day.
Okay.
And I'll be having around like 6,000 calories.
Wow.
Like,
that's not crazy.
That's crazy.
No. Look how much Rebecca's lifting. That's an insane amount to lift.
That's a lot.
And you're 6'4" and 145 kilograms.
Okay, put that into
4,000 calories is not.
That's when she's cutting.
Yeah, now to 6,000. Yeah, but 300 grams of protein. I would have thought you can get that.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah,
I thought it'd be more than that.
Okay,
yeah.
so switch that into food. Give us a day where you'll eat a lot. Okay, you eat a lot whether you're training or you're ready for competition. Yeah. What would that be if you can?
Well, like the day before a competition, like I smashed like a large Domino's with garlic bread, cookies, and basically
a large Domino's. Is it 16 pieces of pizza?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Like massive. I don't even know how many sizes,
right.
But and I literally like almost have food in my hand all day, basically, and like water and electrolyte drinks and things like that. And then I usually go for an all-you-can-eat buffet breakfast for a competition. But kind of a typical day's eating for me would be oats in the morning with steak and eggs, and then a couple of
steak and eggs in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh,
high protein, yeah.
And then a couple of hours later, it'll be like protein and rice, or like sometimes if I'm feeling lazy, I'll have a big bowl of cereal with a protein shake with some like peanut butter and stuff in, and then like that's kind of repeated every few hours. And then like I'll have like little treats and stuff in as well, because when I was at my biggest, I had like a really bad binge eating disorder. So I can't feel restricted in what I eat. Like that's one thing. Like if somebody tries to restrict what I'm eating, like I just go off and completely binge on loads of rubbish. So like I let myself have like treats every day. Like
it's good that you know that about yourself, because I'm the same. Yeah. Like, I know if there's chocolate in the fridge, it's going. As much as I can say like don't or whatever it is, I'm gonna eat it no matter how hard I tell myself.
Well, that is a good thing. I mean, listening to that is kind of like a bit flipping depressing my side, because like we eat a lot, and that's probably why we're fat, because we're eating loads. Like we eat a lot.
Yeah, I know.
That doesn't sound too bad. like we can smash.
But also that you don't restrict yourself too much. Like, that's good. Like she can't have Rebecca can't have someone go say, oh, only eat this, only eat that. Yeah. That's the hard thing. Yeah.
Like that's when I just go, nah, I'm a rebel. I'm just going to go and smash a big Domino's or something. Do you know what I mean?
So you can kind of eat anything then in a way. Or is there anything you can't eat?
No, not really. Like I have a cheat meal every kind of 2 weeks where I will have like a takeaway or whatever I'm fancying. But on the day, like as long as I'm hitting my macros, then anything's game really. So it's good.
I honestly find the more I eat, the stronger I feel. Like I don't know if it's a mental thing, but the last week I've done an experiment. I've halved what I eat. And I have not the same energy in the gym that I normally have. So like I feel like it can be anything, eat anything. I feel like I have way more energy.
Yeah, food is fuel though, isn't it? Like you wouldn't go on a drive with like an empty gas tank, would you? It's just the same thing. Like you need to make sure that your tank's full before you go and do a training session and hopefully gain some strength.
Yeah.
And do you, I want to go into more of the competition stuff, but do you love it? Like, are you loving what you seem like you do? It's like, it's great.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
absolutely love it.
It's taken a while for me to come out of my shell. Like, even in my first couple of years of competing, I was still struggling with my anxiety and kind of, it was really through COVID that I lost the bulk of the weight. I went from 180 kilos to 130 kilo in COVID because there wasn't competitions, so I could really focus on the weight loss. And that's when I went on like, I know it might sound cheesy, but a little bit of a journey of like just self-love and like learning to, to love myself and embrace who I am.
Yeah, I did the same.
And that's when like I really like found that this is what I'm meant to be. Like I finally found who I'm meant to be and things like that. So it was COVID that really kind of helped me.
How would you define self-love? Like what would be the metrics for that?
Oh, it's just learning to love who you are. It's just as basic as that, really. It's like if you can love yourself and love who you are, that means that like it'll massively help you be able to like help other people to love themselves. Like I get so many messages on Instagram and things like that of people that have said that I've massively helped them to kind of embrace who they are. And one recently that saw me in a competition a few months ago said that she walked into work the next day with her head held high, and that made me cry because like she saw me there competing as a plus size person, and obviously we don't get well, there's a lot of stigma around plus size people and that we should kind of hide away and not be seen and not be heard and things like that. And she saw me competing, she saw me happy, she saw me flourishing, and she then kind of took that energy and kind of had it herself then. Like she walked into work next day, head held high, confident in who she was, and things like that mean more to me than the trophies. Like I'd happily hand back every trophy that I've got to have more people.
And that's changed a day. It could even change your life. It's a simple thing like a smile. You know, when you smile at people, it just changes everything. Yeah. Like you just it's such a good attribute to have. And it's weird because you think that when you have it, you think so many other people do. And there's a lot of people that don't, you know, and the same happened with me with COVID. I went through the same sort of thing, and it's hard to say. I think we can say it now more than during COVID, but you know, obviously so many bad things happened during COVID and lots of people died, but there was like this other group of people, which I lucky to fall into, and it sounds like yourself did as well. It was like, you know, amazing. It was soul searching. I got to lose weight, got to exercise, got to read, got to do things that, you know, that you just wouldn't be able to do. And like you said, love yourself as well, which is like, I don't know, most important thing, I think.
Yeah, no, it's like the smiling thing. Matt came to see me when I was living in Bali, and every person that he went up to, where it was like the guy at the gym, working at the gym, and I did an experiment. One day I just smiled and said hello to everybody up, you know, in the ice cream shop, wherever I was, and everybody responds nicely. Everybody smiles back. And I've noticed when there's been a time where
apart from the children in the ice cream shop, because that was a bit weird.
Don't talk to strangers.
He was there going,
all the mums getting their kids.
You just see the mums run out and a wanted like poster on the.
You're wearing that shirt as well.
Yes.
You don't like my shirt, Rebecca, no?
Work for you. David Hasselhoff in the house.
I've noticed if I've had an argument or whatever, and you go into the gym and you're like in a bad mood, and everybody gives you the bad vibes back.
Yeah.
As soon as you just change that and smile, and I think everyone's been in that bad place, like in a bad mood. I've been in a terrible mood in the gym, and it's like everyone gives you bad energy. Yeah. But as soon as you smile, and just everybody, guys, girls, same sex, different, everybody changes.
You know what? There's two things, doesn't it? I think first of all, you know, time is so precious. So what's the point? Even if you spend a day or a week being like negative or rude to someone, it's just no point. And the other thing as well is, you don't even, sometimes you go, like you just said, you went into the gym and you probably didn't know whether these people were bad or not. It's just breed, you know, it's breeding in you.
It takes more energy to be negative.
Yeah, it takes way more energy. It's so much easier to smile than explain not to be negative.
Yeah.
It's like,
but we've all been there, and you just got to remind yourself to crack out of it.
Sure.
Of course, you have days as well. Is there like for you, Bex? Is there still days now where you fall into like a little bit of a depression or anxiety, or are you so like just strong minded now that you just trained yourself?
Definitely is days where it's happened. I actually had a panic attack in the gym a few weeks ago, just because I felt like there was somebody laughing at me. Like, and I know that sounds really weird, but I've still got like some issues. Like, it's not going to go away overnight, but compared to 6 years ago, like, I'm a completely changed woman.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy, like how far I've come, and like looking back where I was, like I'd never imagined I'd be in the position that I am now. And then hopefully in another 6 years' time, I'll be even stronger again. Like, do you know what I mean? So,
and that's amazing. So it's people who have bad anxiety, they get panic attacks every day. So to not have one for 3 weeks after everything you've been through is incredible. You're just living a great life now.
Yeah, definitely. And it was my partner that's kind of basically changed all that.
Right.
So he's been like a massive, he's literally been my number one fan for the last 6 years. Like, he's been my agony aunt. Like, he's now my loader in the gym. He's my coach. He's like my nutritionist. He does all my filming and stuff, like for my YouTube channels, things like that. He just literally just does so much for me.
That's awesome.
So it's like, it's a really good partnership to have.
So, all right. So with the competition, the ones that we've seen, I don't know why not all of it seems to be televised, but the ones that I've seen is where you pick up weight on both sides. And I've seen the one where you hold it for as long as you can in the gym, and you hold two dumbbells, no, dumb bars, where you're holding 2 dumbbells. Obviously, I've seen the rock, seen the deadlifts. And there's another one, I'm not sure what it's called, where you put it on your shoulders and you stand it up. I think you did 300 kilograms with that one when you're walking. Is that right?
Yeah, that's called like a super yoke.
Right.
So
Wow.
yeah, you just have it on your back and you run as quick as possible. World's Strongest Woman last year, and it's an event this year again as well. They actually attached the car to it. So you're picking up a car and running from one end of the room with another to another.
We've seen you pull the lorry as well. We've seen the lorry.
Yeah. I mean, it's just insane. I was showing James. I was showing James yesterday, and he was just like, "Come on, it's this." I said, "Mate, look," and he went, "She's pulling a lorry."
It's not.
It's just insane.
I'm going to open up my own breakdown service next week. So.
What's your favorite event? What's the one where you go and you're like, I'm smashing this. There's
all
no
of
one
them.
compete with me, and you really enjoyed doing it, or is it all of them? I suppose.
Yeah, I really like heavy moving events. So like the heavy yoke and kind of heavy fans. Like obviously having the strongest grip in the world. Like picking up things and running with them. Like I know that I'm not going to drop them.
Right.
Flintstones here.
But yeah, like I like most of the lists and things like that. When I was at my heaviest, I hated the medleys. Like at World's Strongest Woman in 2019.
What's the medley? Sorry.
A medley is when you've just got several implements like a sandbag or a keg or like a tire or anything like that, and you've just got to like pick it up and run with it and then kind of run from one to another. So it tests more your fitness. And I couldn't finish the medley in 2019. That was my first World's Strongest Woman. And then through COVID, that's when I lost like the 9 stone. And I came back, and in the World's Strongest Woman last year, I came second in the medley by like 0.2 seconds. Uh-huh. And it was like almost the exact same like event as it was in 2019. So like the difference in that was pretty insane to not being able to finish in it before. So yeah, I really like the running events now, but I didn't used to.
And what's your like? I mean, you're the world's strongest woman. What keeps you like? Do you just want to keep winning and keep doing that and just keep breaking records? Because you can't really go. You can't be the world's strongest galaxy person, or you're the world's strongest.
Well, if there's any aliens out there that want to challenge me,
like what's next for you, or is it just the sheer like dedication to keep going and keep winning, or is there something like that? Is there a particular competition that you haven't won, or that like?
I just want to be like regarded as the greatest of all time.
Wow.
So the current record for the number of World's Strongest Woman titles is 3, and I want to win 5 titles. I was actually the youngest person to compete in World's Strongest Woman last year as well. And the last 5 times the World's Strongest Woman has been won by somebody that was over 40. And I'm only 27 now. So I've got hopefully a good few years in the sport.
Longevity in the sport.
That's another thing. I mean,
you're literally like 1 in 3.5 billion. I mean, literally, what you are 1 in. We just hit 8 billion population. So you're literally 1 in 4 billion. Like, there's no other woman as strong as you.
It's not just that. It's like, she's 26 or 27?
27.
She's 27. Like, you get. You're not there yet, but they'll tell you. You get stronger when you're like older, 35, 40,
you do.
45, 50. Like,
shut up.
That
older strength.
The fact that you're 27, like, I wasn't strong when I was 27. I don't know.
And the fact
you'd peak sort of towards the 30s, would you say?
Yeah, a lot of people peak like mid to late 30s.
Yeah. There's just something different in your muscles, the muscle fibers, isn't there, where they just become strong because you've been training for so long.
It's the maturity in the muscles for sure,
Yeah.
But you know what? I think it's excuse me for saying this. I think it's the mindset of what you've gone through. You've also still got that like love and light, so you're making it enjoyable and fun. And when things are enjoyable and fun, and you're good at it, you're unstoppable. You can't, no one can compete with you. If someone's like aggressive or angry, but they're really good at something, or they're lazy, like all those things together. But when you're good at something really good and enjoying it, and it's fun, and you're smiling, and you've been through that, like, yeah.
Because that's the thing as well. In 2019, I came 7th at World's Strongest Woman, and I let my nerves get to me. I wasn't really enjoying it while I was there. Like, I was really nervous, and because it was the biggest stage that I'd competed on, and through kind of like COVID, like I kind of learned to love myself again. And my first competition back, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go out there and enjoy it. And my kind of competition, it was almost flawless. Like I was out there, I was smiling, I was embracing the crowd.
Difference it makes.
And like I just wasn't nervous whatsoever, and I just let myself just be happy and be myself. And that translated so well into my competition. And ever since, I've just gone out and I've enjoyed it. First and foremost, I go there to enjoy myself, and that brings out the best in me.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
That's such a great positive message for everybody else. Where do people watch it? Because to find all the information, like I had to really search YouTube, Wikipedia. Is there not like I know when it's on, it's being filmed, but is there another place that people can watch like all of the different events?
Yeah, it's like still quite a niche sport, but it is growing. Like Ultimate Strongman, who like Martin C works for and things, they're doing such an amazing thing in like getting Strongman on like TV, like especially Strongwoman. So it's going to be on like Channel 5 at Christmas, things like that.
Oh, it's on Channel 5 at Christmas?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
It's really good, like all the competitions that he's doing, like he's putting them on in like big arenas and things as well.
Yeah.
So people can come and like buy tickets and come and watch it live. If you follow like Ultimate Strongman on Facebook and things like that. Giants Live are another big brand who I don't know if you know Tom and Luke Saltman are.
Brothers.
Yeah,
I do know.
So they like run like massive competitions as well. And for the first time in their history, they're putting on a competition with women. That I've been invited to in November in Liverpool. So that's going to be in the Echo Arena in Liverpool.
Oh, wow.
And that'll be a massive milestone, especially for the women's sport as well. But a lot of it is kind of on YouTube at the minute, but it is starting to break through into TV and into big arenas where people can actually come and watch it live.
And, we were talking about this the other day that, hopefully now there's a big change. I was saying when I watched the women win the football, and I had a tear in my eye and everything was so nice to see. And
it's nice of you being Welsh.
Huh?
Nice of you to have a tear in your eye for the
English.
For English. Not for the England, but for the women. So, like, what do you think? It's on a bit of a high at the moment to bring more support, more funding, more awareness to women's sport in general. Like, what's your thoughts on that, and what kind of needs to happen? Is it just awareness and people need to? Because it's so interesting. Actually probably more interested. I watched the football more interested in that because the women reacted in such a different way. They were dancing, they were doing all this kind of stuff. Like, it was more engaging and more interesting. So where do people go from here where it's like, right, how do we make women's sport, strong women more popular, more visible? What do you think's like the kind of
It's
key?
crazy like how much it's grown in the time that I've been a part of it. So when the first UK Strongest Woman in 2016, for winning that, I got a tiny little medal and a tub of out-of-date protein. Literally,
No way.
Literally, honestly.
Oh, wow.
You won a small medal and an out-of-date bottle of
Tub of protein.
Tub of protein.
Yeah.
Do you know what? My stepdad, who's Welsh, he used to do that. He came, Matt, I got a really nice bottle of protein. You have it, it's for you. I was like, he never gives me anything. And then like a week later, I'd look at it and it's like 2 years out of date. And I know why he gave it to me now. He'd buy it and just give it to me. That's hilarious. Sorry, I just
That's the only accent you can do, the Welsh accent.
Yeah.
And like that was in like just a gym car park, and it had more competitors than spectators. Like, and that was only kind of 6 years ago.
Oh.
And now UK Strongest Woman this year, it was in an arena. There was like prize money, like 4-figure prize money, which was pretty decent compared to where it was. And it was televised. So the progress in that time for the sport of strong women is just insane. And
that's huge.
so now,
Sorry.
And now there's going to be competitions where there's like $20,000, $30,000 prize money. So it is kind of going forward. But basically, just to keep it growing, the fans just need to kind of almost in a harsh ways just put the money where the mouth is and pay for the live streams and pay for the tickets and things like that. And it shows that there is a demand. Like a lot of people. Mainly promoters, they kind of say, people don't want to watch the women. But if people actually gave the women a chance and the fans actually went and went and paid for the live stream and showed that there was a demand for it, that's how it grows. And that's how Ultimate Strongman and Glenn Ross and Martin C have managed to grow the women's sport, because they've taken a punt on it and they've shown that it works.
Yeah. And
sorry, I was going to say, do you feel like with the platform that you have, do you want to be an ambassador for the sport and for women in sport in general?
Yeah, definitely. Like I actively just try and kind of get women into sport if they want to be into sport and things like that. And I'll go and to kind of gym open days and things like that, and just kind of be there and kind of help inspire them to go to the gym and be active and things like that.
It's evolved so much, right? Because I know like people weren't, everybody is kind of set in their ways, right? Everyone supports their football team, male football team or whatever. All of a sudden you've got this girls football where England, everybody sort of opened their eyes a lot, right? Then you've got, I keep on seeing on Instagram, TikTok, on social media platforms, you've got the girl volleyball player. She did this kind of dance. Did you see the one that went viral?
No. She
was flirting with a guy and she did this sort of dance and it went viral for women volleyball. And then you've got women American footballers, which are getting more, they're sort of taking off now. And basically on all the stuff you've told me and what we learned from Martin when we spoke to him, I mean, I'm just amazed at like your strength, for number one, physically, because now I can understand, hold on, that strength to me is incredible. So I can only see it kind of going one way. So all it really needs is for those arenas to get like the sponsorship, people like Martin to push it forward, and it's going to be huge. Like everyone's going to want to see like how far you can push it. It's amazing.
And you said so the event side is actually there, but people just need to pay to see it and go to see it.
Yeah, definitely. Like it is growing. Like Wales' Strongest Woman was in Cardiff in an arena, and it was actually the first time that they'd sold out all the tickets and things like that for it. So it is growing. Like it's growing at quite a rapid pace compared to what it was kind of 6 years ago. The prize money for World's Strongest Woman last year was 10 times the prize money that it was the year before.
Right.
So it is growing, and kind of it is
rewarding the efforts, slowly. I suppose. Yeah.
So you've got November, you've got all these different, the one you're doing in November, but when is the actual next Strongwoman, like the world's strongest woman, the next event?
It'll be in November in Florida.
In Florida?
Yeah. So go to Disney afterwards as a little treat.
Wow. So where are we now? August, September, whatever it is, like 2 months away.
Yeah, 11 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And where will people be able to watch that when it's on at the time, apart from going there if they're in the UK?
There's a website called officialstrongman.com.
Okay.
And it's like $7.99 to kind of pay for a membership, and you can watch all the live stream there.
So we need to push everybody towards that time when we've pushed this episode out across all our socials. We really need to push people to go to officialstrongman.com.
So you said 11 weeks. How long do you need to be show ready?
11 weeks.
The full 11 weeks. Right, okay. Okay. But you're also sort of constantly in training. So do you need a full 11 weeks? Yeah?
So at the minute, my last competition was in mid-July. So I kind of cleared my schedule from then up until November, because my main focus of this year is just to retain my title. So every other competition I've not really peaked myself for, because you can only really come in a properly peaked condition like once or twice a year if you're kind of clever about it. So the last kind of few weeks and the next couple of weeks is all more or less bodybuilding kind of training, to kind of like just bring up my weaker muscle groups and come in like really athletic and really kind of well-rounded muscular wise.
What's weak on your body? Because I don't see anything.
That's weak. The weaker areas.
The less ridiculously strong areas.
Yeah, my little toes like quite weak. And then there'll be like 8 weeks of just pure solid like event training. So I'll be doing like the yoke work and kind of techniques on that kind of events and things like that. And then hopefully a little deload and then go in.
And I saw you lifting the dumbbells and the shoulders. What was that weight, or what weight do you do on your shoulders here? Is it all your shoulders there?
It's like an incline press.
Yeah.
I've done 40, I think it's like 48 kilos for sets of 10.
On each side?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Most I've ever done is 50 kg on chest lying down each. She's doing 48 on shoulders.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That was when I was at my strongest. That's insane.
How do you train for pulling a truck? Like, what is that? A lot of rowing, I suppose.
To be honest, for the one that I did in the last competition, I didn't train for it. But had experience in kind of training for it before. But it's a lot of just simulation. So with a truck pull, you need to be able to kind of push through lactic acid like with your legs. So it's a lot of high rep work with like a leg press and things like that. And I've actually it's called an Exergenie is what it's called. But but it's actually something that you can strap to yourself and like it's almost simulates a truck pull. You can like put some weight on the sled behind you and like almost pull a truck in the gym, but with the sled and weight behind you.
And how much does that truck weigh?
I think it was around 15 tons.
Right.
Fucking hell.
So obviously you've got to have good trainers, good grip, chalk in your hands, everything's got to be
best grip in the world.
Yeah, I know, but still, you got to have like.
She just needs chalk. It's just spitting in the hands.
I'll give you £500 to break Jay's hand on your grip. I'd love to see that.
And she'll probably beat me in an arm wrestle. That's for sure.
Of course she will.
Yeah, she'll kill you in an arm wrestle.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's terrible at arm wrestling.
Amazing, I love it.
It's like double the size.
Yeah.
And do you know what I love as well? You seem so like, I was going to say to you, who are you worried about competition? You seem so confident. Like, maybe I'm speaking ahead, but you just seem like, you seem like you're just going to go in and you're just going to smash it.
That's
and you're not even worried about who's second or.
No, like I'm going in to perform to my best. And I know that if I perform to my best, I'll win. Like, and I go in to win every competition that I do. Like, if you go in to get second place or go in to kind of get top 5 or whatever, like it's, do you know what I mean? It's not the best kind of goal. Like the way that I see it is if you reach for the stars, you're not going to be too mad if you fall on the moon or if you land on the moon kind of thing. So I always just strive for greatness, like strive for first place and see where you end up. Wow. Hopefully first. But
are you always worried about other competitors or are you sort of look out for them?
Obviously it's like, it's better to be aware of your competitors and things like that. But at the end of the day, you can only do what you can do. So my coach kind of deals with all that, and then I just go and
just focus on yourself.
Focus on myself. Yeah.
It's so. I mean, I went through a crazy stage with a film for 10 years, and it's so. You're doing everything so great. The fact that you're staying like positive in your mindset is just, don't ever lose that, because that will just keep you going so well. Like it's so good to see. I really want to see you arm wrestle Jay and destroy him.
Well, we'll see how strong you are on the boxing, the boxing bag.
Who's the closest competition you have at the moment?
Probably a woman called Victoria Long, who is American.
Right.
So yeah, she's probably the person to kind of watch out for at World's Strongest Woman this year. So it'll be a really good kind of matchup to see who wins out of the both of us.
What's her weight and height?
She's around 6 foot, and she's about 120 kilos, something like that, I think. But she's won a lot of like the major competitions. She's not won World's Strongest Woman yet, but I know she is gunning for that title. But I know that if I come in healthy and uninjured, then I'll hopefully beat her. Is the plan. Like last year, it's a 3-day competition, and last year I was really plagued with an injury. I was actually going to pull out after the first day, because I couldn't sit to stand by myself. My knees were completely like messed up. So it was just pure adrenaline that got me through days 2 and 3. But then I still managed to win in that kind of condition. So to come in hopefully uninjured, which is why I've taken this time out of competition just to kind of focus on.
And in that time, do you do a lot of body maintenance and body conditioning? So massages and, chiropractors and...
Do you do cold plunges, hot and cold treatment?
Yeah, I've got a jacuzzi and a cold tub in my back garden. So I'll literally, after every training session, I'll go and dip in there and have that. That's been like an absolute godsend.
And how do you do it? Do you do hot and then cold or cold and then hot? How does it...
Well, it depends. Like if I feel brave enough, I'll go straight in the cold. But I'll do like 3 minutes in each, and I'll probably do like 3 or 4 kind of sessions of hot and cold.
And what do you end on? What is it good to come out on the hot or good to come out on the cold?
I end up with the hot.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it just keeps your muscles kind of like warm. You don't want to kind of end up with the cold, and then they kind of start seizing up.
Right.
So yeah.
I've got a final question, which is probably a big question, but you're so young. You're 27, like, and you're not going to be doing this till you're 45, I don't think. Like, so where do you're going to keep smashing it? Where do you see yourself in, like, what do you want to do after this? Where do you see yourself in 10 years, or you're 35 or whatever?
See, I'm not sure. Like, obviously the sport is going to still be carrying on. So maybe going to like commentating and things like that. But at the end of the day, like I'm still probably, even when I retire from the sport, I'm still going to train. I'm still hopefully going to be like a public figure for people to look up to and help inspire people into kind of doing what they want to do. I do eventually like maybe want to try and go into like TV and film and things like that.
Open your own gym, maybe?
Yeah, possibly. Like maybe going to personal training. There's a lot of different avenues. But again, like I'm still young. Like still got years to decide what I want to get into and what I want to do.
That sounds fantastic. I mean, you're so, I knew you were obviously strong, but you're very soft as well, if you don't mind me saying that. Like,
she's going to
like
knock
a
you
gentle
out.
giant.
No, it's just
You
like,
should see my house. It's like full of unicorns and Disney stuff.
really, yeah. When you're so soft and like, yeah, it's lovely.
When it was on the phone, you went to meet her. She's like, "Yeah, this guy's waving to me." I was like, "Yeah, just punch him."
Punch him off,
in a flipping Hawaiian shirt.
no shoes on.
You told him he's going to Florida. That's why I look.
Yeah.
I'd be taking him if he had a surfboard, but
yeah, it's like I said, there's a soft side to it. And you said you got loads of Disney things in your house.
yeah, and unicorns. I'm obsessed.
You're not coming back from Florida.
The dream catcher there, tattoo, lovely.
You're not. Have you been to Florida before?
Yeah.
Yeah, you love Disneyland. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Like World's Strongest Woman, the last like couple of years has been in like Florida. So every time I go to Disney, like it's a little treat because the prep can be grueling. So we just let ourselves have a bit of time off afterwards.
There's something really interesting with this. Like they said about Mike Tyson. You remember when Mike Tyson would be like this animal in the ring, this absolute just
he loves birds and all that.
And then you get them and be, hey, it'd be so nice and calm.
Yeah.
I can just imagine like the women competing with Rebecca, like lifting these massive boulders and then seeing her in Disneyland, like playing with like some teddy bears or something. Like that would just fuck you up, wouldn't it? You'd just be like,
Literally me.
That's a bit of a mind fuck. Like,
so Mike Tyson would be super friendly to some of his opponents. Oh yeah, how you doing? And I can see you doing that, being super friendly. And then it comes to the weights, and you're just killing everybody else.
Rebecca, I wanted to ask, and we asked some of our other guests this question, I think Julius as well. What do you do to G yourself up before you do an event? Like, is there something that, you get really focused in the zone and you just kind of like say something to yourself or,
To be honest, like I'm probably one of the only people, my coach kind of says that I just kind of, I'm really happy and like smiley and things like that right until about 10 seconds before the event starts. And that's when I'm just like, right, focus on the event in hand. And I just kind of play it through. Like I imagine myself lifting it like hundreds of times before I actually go and like lift the weight, like the night before, the day before and things like that. But I just try and just stay as relaxed as possible right until the last second before I have to kind of
listen to music as well?
Not really, no. Like I just kind of like just jump about being all happy and flaily and
you
like
got Disney characters, characters in your mind. Like, that's amazing.
I hope people watching this are inclined to come and follow you on your social, but also watch World's Strongest Woman in November. Like that's what we need to put some time into to make sure that it gets seen.
For sure, yeah.
Have a little watch party.
Yeah. We could do it. Actually, we could do.
Yeah.
Should we do it when it's on?
Yeah.
How long's the whole event?
So it's like a 3-day event, so it might be a bit difficult, and they usually span like about 6-hour days, so you'd have a long watch party.
A watch party could be good on the finals, wouldn't it? Yeah. To just draw people in. Okay.
Bex, thank you so much. You've come all this way for us today. It's amazing, honestly. And you're
welcome.
You're really inspiration. And this light you have is amazing. I feel it. It's great. It's really great. Thank you so much for coming.
Great inspiration. Thanks very much, Becca.
Thank you.
Yes. Nice. That was a good one. There you go.